Welcome into the RotoWire, a soccer show. We have the second leg of the Champions League semifinals. Tuesday is today. It is Tuesday, May 6th. Inter against Barcelona. We'll be talking about 15 minutes here. Lineups should be out shortly. Go over lineups and I'll give my thoughts on the match. If anyone has any questions, I'll read those out. But again, rotowire.com/soccer to get all of our content. I wrote a few quick words on this. There's going to be more content in this show, but I wrote a few quick words. If you're more of a reader than a listener, those are up at this site. We have also a few bets in there, and as usual, we got a bunch of other stuff at the site. But if you're not subscribed to RotoWire, we got a month left of the European season, and then of course there's MLS going on during the summer. But Roto15, ROTO15, 15% off any subscription over at RotoWire. So yeah, check that out. That'll get you a little bit of everything. And there we go. We got lineups in. Got a few listeners. Jack says new tunes. Unfortunately for Jack, been playing these tunes for a while. He has not been watching all these shows. So shame on Jack for not watching every single show that we are producing over here. FanDuel has a GPP, so shouts to FanDuel. DraftKings, the GPP today, 10K to first. But look at this. Lineups out for Inter and Barcelona. I don't think we're going to get too many changes, but let's click here into the site. Let's check out UEFA, see what we got, see what we're dealing with. I guess the big question was Lautaro. Is he healthy enough to start? I don't know how healthy he is to go more than 45, but he is healthy enough to start. I think that is the only thing here that is yep, looks like we have Dumfries and Marco playing on the wings, Bastoni, Bisek, and Acerbi on the back line. In the midfield is Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, and Barella, and then Lautaro and Marcus Thuram playing up front. So no surprises there for Inter and Barcelona. And we knew Lewandowski was going to be on the bench and not ready to start. So that is the case. And I guess the one question possibly was who was going to take over at fullback. And it looks like Eric Garcia is going to be opposite of Gerard Martin at fullback for Barcelona. So that's the case there. And what do we have? Cabarsi, Inigo, okay, Pedri, and De Jong playing in a deeper role. Then Olmo above them, and Rafinha, Yamal, and Ferran Torres get the start. So not really any surprises here. That's kind of what we're dealing with in the semifinals. Teams are putting out their A squads, and there's not really any discussion too much of who's actually starting and who's not starting. But we'll probably get Lewandowski again, depending on what the score is. He'll probably come on at some point, coming fresh off a few weeks off of his hamstring injury. So he'll come on at some point. Again, it'll be okay. Maybe if it's level in the 70th, 80th minute, and it could be going in extra time. Maybe you hold off Lewandowski for those extra 30 minutes kind of a thing. Maybe because you don't really want to be in a situation of, okay, let's put on Lewandowski in the 60th minute and then there's 30 minutes and then there's 30 more minutes and you're playing Lewandowski too much and he busts his hamstring again and he's out for if they get there, he's out for the Champions League final. So, well, I think Lewandowski's coming in. I think that there'll be a little more Hansi Flick will be a little more conscious of his injury. It's not going to be an automatic, okay, Ferran Torres, he's struggling, 45 minutes, we'll go Lewandowski. I think it'll be a little closer to, okay, if it's an even game, 80th minute, past that, I think is what we're looking at Lewandowski. And even then, it may even only be in extra time. So let's go to the cheat sheet again. ROTO15, 15% off a subscription. And I'll go into my article here. Yeah, what am I going at? Cheat sheet. So yeah, this is what we're at. No major surprises. Again, Lautaro. We can look here. He is another player who's not 100%. As we remember, he only made it 45 minutes. If you played him at DraftKings, he finished with negative points. Went 45 minutes off at halftime in that first leg. Obviously not great. And given the injury, he's probably another guy that you got to be tentative with. If he goes over he goes over 70 minutes, it may be a surprise. Then again, how serious was this? I mean, okay, it was serious enough that he went off in the first leg. So it's a situation where they're going to be on a lot of counterattacks and he's going to be sprinting a bunch. So, any kind of muscle injury in that situation, not great. So you got to be worried about minutes there because it could be less than 45. It could be 45 again for Lautaro. Perfect tournament play, but you're not going to be putting him in cash lineups by any means. I think he is actually the most expensive Inter Milan player, which again, it's not too surprising. He's had some pretty nice matches in Champions League. But here are the odds. Barcelona slightly favored. Not too surprising. 38, almost 39%. Clean sheets, both below 20%, which is kind of fun. The last game, it was minus 155 Barcelona to win. Everyone was just like, Inter are done. Inter have no chance. They just don't have the attack to deal with it. And then everyone remembered, okay, Barcelona's defense has kind of struggled all season, and their press never really changes throughout a game. So they played this method all season under Flick, and there will be opportunities for goals. And we saw the size of Inter Milan being a problem for Barcelona through multiple set-piece goals in that last game. But implied goal total is 1.68, 1.64 for Inter. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Again, any questions, shoot them my way. But I guess I'll run over how I think this match is going to go. Actually, let me pull up the stats for the last game just to see what we're looking at. Yes, we do have box scores over at RotoWire. I know it's one thing people don't usually know us for, but you can click into a player profile and get the box scores. The main thing here, I think the main takeaway, you can look at it like, okay, Inter had the early lead, so Barcelona had these massive floors, but and is the play going to change at all because this is in Inter, this is at San Siro? Is it going to change a little bit? Is Inter going to have more possession because they're playing at home? Are they going to have more opportunities, or are they going to play the same way? I think that it's going to be more of they're probably going to play the same way. They don't want to get in an up and down game. They don't want to be exposed in the back when you have Yamal and Rafinha on the counter or on one-on-ones against the Inter back line. That's not how Inter play. They haven't played like that for a long time. So I think it's probably going to be pretty similar to how that last match played out. Does that mean, Yamal's getting 6 shots and 10 crosses? If we remember correctly, entering that match, there were tweets going out that Yamal, he was feeling his groin. He was limping off in pregame warmup. There's questions of Yamal might not even start, maybe 5-10 minutes before kickoff. It was like, okay, no, he's good to go. I know some people, myself included, looked at that and was like, okay, maybe there's some risk here. Maybe I'll move out Yamal. And then he turned that into one of the best one of the best, actually, maybe the best floor performance you'll see from a player without set pieces. 0 corners, 10 crosses, 6 shots. Just a wild performance. Everything kind of went through him on the right. I know Rafinha had, he had his 8 crosses came mostly from those 5 corners. He still had 5 shots, but they went through the right a bunch. And that was a main reason. So we look at the back line. There's not any changes here. I think the main reason for that, I guess, is okay. You have DeMarco over there, and they love that Yamal against DeMarco matchup. They will probably go there again. Is kind of what my thoughts are. We look at these minutes from that last game. I think that we'll be pretty similar. Almost always an early sub risk. Ferran Torres probably, again, I already talked about that, but he's probably not going 90. I kind of like the fullbacks in that last game. Then Koundé got injured and Martin got subbed at half. I can't. Okay, maybe you play Eric Garcia because he's cheap, and who else are they going to play in that right back spot? But we saw Martin get subbed off early for Arroyo, and I'm not going to go back to Martin again in this one. The other thing in that first matchup, just not a ton of, because of the way interplay with, just launching balls forward, set pieces, even Çalhanoğlu with the set pieces, just he got the assist and I think he had a floor of about 8 points here. I don't think there's going to be a ton of a change here. We look at the midfield and what they did. 7 shots total. Dumfries, 2 goals and assist. He only had 2 shots. He only had 1 chance created. He only had 1 cross. All these guys pretty much had no floor. So what you're getting with in cash games, I think Jan Sommer, again, I said it last week. I think Jan Sommer might be the safest play. Maybe you expect a few more corners from Çalhanoğlu and you can spend the money on him in cash games. But okay, how many corners are we expecting from Inter in this spot? If Barcelona get a goal or two early, I guess you can say, okay, well then, but I mean that's not really how you play in cash games. You can't go into it and be like Barcelona going to score and Inter have to push and get set pieces. So I think Sommer is the safest floor play from Inter. We see what they did. They can score. They can get goals against this Barcelona defense, but there's just not a ton of opportunities. Can they be that efficient again? Maybe it's not even about efficiency, but just Barcelona's certain weaknesses and Inter being one of the best, counterattacking teams in the world. And Marcus Thuram, maybe this is the Lautaro game. Maybe I talked him down a little bit because of his injury, but maybe he's fine. Maybe he goes 90 minutes. Maybe he has 3 shots at goal and assist in this game. Who knows? So that's kind of how I think. But yeah, I think the game's going to go pretty similar to that last one. I think both teams are going to score. This Barcelona defense just is just completely unreliable. I think Koundé is their best defender as well. You take him out, he missed the entire second half last game. You take away their weaknesses, defending set pieces. You take all that into account. Lautaro's in here. I think Inter are going to score. I think Barcelona are going to get floor points. Do I think, it's hard just to go against Barcelona because it's like, do we want to bet against Rafinha, Yamal, Lewandowski coming off the bench? Do we want to bet against this Barcelona team who can pretty much score goals against anyone? And they have scored goals against anyone? Or are we just looking at it like, okay, Inter maybe are more solid defensively. Maybe we trust that. Maybe we trust them on the counter. I just find it hard to bet against Barcelona, but I think you can come up with decent points into taking, okay, I'll take Barcelona to win this game or Inter to win this game. I think you can look at both ways. You can go from both aspects there. Do I think Inter are going to hold Barcelona scoreless? Probably not, but you could captain Sommer and maybe there is a winning clean sheet here. But if you are thinking goals for both sides, then the 2 most popular players will be Yamal, will be Rafinha. That is unsurprising. Take your pick there and hope that the guy you pick has more goals and more assists is what it comes down to. If you think both teams are going to score, where is it going to come from from Inter? Are you going to take on Lautaro Martinez? Maybe. Are you going to take on Thuram? I think Thuram will be, I don't want to say popular, but if you can get a goal from Thuram, he is 11.4K captain, which is pretty far down there compared to the Barcelona guys. So go to Thuram captain allows you a few more things. So I'll do this right here just for fun. Thuram captain with Rafinha and Yamal, and then you got to think Eric Garcia is going to be popular. He's 3,400 for a fullback, a faux fullback. But either way, 3,400. I think people are just going to take it, see his position, take a chance on it. And if he gets 8 points, you basically don't want to fade that because that is going to be one of the best might be one of the best values on the slate. So that leaves you with 13.2K for 2 positions. I think there's a lot of recency bias. I think people are going to play Dumfries. He's 6K. He's fairly cheap. Again, he had no floor in that game, so I think he's actually a great fade because I think he's probably going to be over popular because of that prior game. And everyone who plays DFS, if you're familiar with Dumfries at all, just a guy who's always in range for a yellow card, committing a bunch of fouls. Also, he's, as we saw in that last game, in range to launch balls in the cross and into the box, score for himself, pop up on the score sheet randomly. And that's how Inter are going to attack this game. So it's reasonable to play him. And maybe you don't want to be on the other side of that if he gets a goal or assist, but maybe you do want to be on the other side of it if Dumfries is sitting with 3 fouls committed and a yellow card. He doesn't have the goal or assist and his floor. He maybe has like 2 points. Like that is definitely in range for Dumfries to have 2 points in this spot. So I think he's a perfect fade and probably what I'm going to be leaning on, because if Dumfries is, close, it's hard to say what percentages are going to be, but yeah, I didn't look at what last week was. He was probably, I don't know, 20% last week. He's probably double that. He might be 30-40%. And if you're getting if it's one of these 2-point Dumfries games, hey, that's a perfect fade. But I like Jan Sommer in basically every format. And then, so I'll plug him in, and that kind of gets you a little bit, some different things. Pedri, I don't know if I want that, but DeMarco is always a talking point. Definitely can play him, but he just isn't a guy who's going 90. He struggles defensively. He's on that same side as Yamal. You don't want to be in a situation kind of like last week where you do have the upside, though. So obviously he is in around the counter. He's going to be getting forward. He's going to be launching balls in the box a little more than Dumfries probably. And maybe you do get a goal or assist in the first 60 minutes. Maybe he does get subbed off, but you still have the goal or assist there. So those are my kind of thoughts. This lineup that I just put together, I got to maybe tweak some things because there's something I still don't like about it. I'm still missing something. Do we want to play Ferran Torres? I liked him a little bit last week because we knew it was 90. But even with 70 of Ferran, I think that's fine. Like he's still gonna get opportunities. We saw in that first game, he's still gonna get opportunities at the top of the box. He's still gonna get the ball. Do you want to play Olmo? I don't really want to play Olmo, if I'm being honest. I know he has a split of stats, but Ferran is more likely to score 600 more than Olmo. Çalhanoğlu's in here. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky because we don't really want to play these inner midfielders. That's kind of why maybe Dumfries is closer to 50% because there's really no one else we even like here. There's no one else to like. I guess we just avoid. Maybe you can get out of playing Eric Garcia, like I said, and find something else. I know Szczesny was a popular play last week, but a similar situation. Like, how many saves is he actually going to get? This is it's not a pretty showdown by any means. There's not a ton of pretty showdowns. Maybe you play someone off the bench. Maybe you play Lewandowski off the bench. I guess maybe I'll say like Pedri maybe stands out just because he plays for Barcelona. Maybe he'll take a free kick here or there. So maybe that'll be my move in this lineup that I'm making right here. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Barella is 4K. These inner midfielders just not really there for him. De Jong's okay. He went 90. I guess going into the Dortmund legs, he was an early sub candidate, and now he's gone 90s in all these games. So maybe I'm a little under on De Jong. I know he's obviously the most defensive option there, but if he's going 90, if he's going more than Pedri, he's going to appear at the top of the box. He's going to appear in good situations if Barcelona, again, get close to 70% possessions. But that's all I got in this game here. So, just reading some comments. Yeah, Brandon, hard to imagine Barcelona playing any other way. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at in this game. It's, even though it's at Inter, even though it's in Italy here, it's kind of hard to see it being that different from the first leg. So that's what I got in this game. Who do I think is going to win? I've gone back and forth during the show. I went back and forth before the show. Again, it's hard to go against Barcelona. I'm just going to go against Barcelona because everyone is going with Barcelona. So I'm just going to say I'll go big here. I'll go 3-2 Inter. They had the lead a couple times in that first leg. Do I really think this is going to happen? I don't know, but I'm an against the grain person, and I know people are heavy on Barcelona. Maybe they 3-1 easy win, the early goals this time, and Inter can't come back, but maybe that doesn't happen. So Inter 3-2. I'll just go big. Inter 3-2 is my prediction. So that's what we got here. Roto 15 ROTO 15% off. Roto Wire subscriptions. Again, thank you for listening. Follow on Twitter, RotoWire Soccer, Roto Zdroik, and subscribe. Get into the Discord, rotowire.com/chat. Thank you for listening. Good luck on this slate, and maybe we'll be back tomorrow. If I'm not back tomorrow, we have a 4-game Saturday slate, and we also have a betting show, both out on Friday. And as usual, we have plenty more content over at rotowire.com/soccer.